All right, welcome to a new episode. These episodes are going to be covering the tournament games that the players are performing in the ASLSK tournament that I'm conducting right now, 5 or 6 rounds. What the purpose of these are is to play your tournament game, go back with your log, review your log file with a mentor or somebody else or yourself and your opponent to see what you guys could have done differently. And then from that, you take that information that you immediately learned in that previous game and you go on to the next game. And this is taking your log files and you're looking specifically at what you're doing in your log files. Now, yes, you could always reflect after the game, well, I should have gone here, should have gone there, but you're not going to see the detail that you need to pay attention to during the game that actually exemplifies what you're doing. That's what we're doing here. We're taking the log files, the value of the log files, and we're using that as a learning device and reflecting more succinctly on our games and taking that information and going into the future and becoming better ASLers at that. So I learned from this game. I think Jose and Pablo learned from the game. And so that's the whole purpose. Learn from the game, enter your next game with the new knowledge that you have, and then see how you can apply it in the next one. It's not always going to be successful, not always going to be terrible. So it will bring mixed results, but that's the key here. What I want you to point out, what I want you to see, and this is a specific, very interesting scenario. Watch what happens in the first 2 turns, and you, in your mind, tell me what you would do as the Greek player. Tell me what your feelings would be as the Greek player and as the Italian player in this scenario by the end of turn 1 or turn 2. With that information, follow through to the end of the scenario. You can skip most of it and go directly to the end where the end game occurs, and you decide on whether or not you want to quit early or just give up, hands up, I'm done, I'm gone, I'm out of here, I don't want to bother, or continue on. Remember, it's not about how many units you lose, it's about fulfilling the victory conditions of the game. Unit remaining is irrelevant to some victory conditions. That's completely what we have to do with here. Exit victory conditions, you don't need units. You just need to stop him from exiting, period. So with that, go on with this game, run it at double speed. It will run pretty good at double speed. You'll be able to understand everyone that's going on in here. If you don't have time, so it'll be like an hour. I'm trying to cut them down quickly, but we cover a lot of good things, a couple good routing examples, and things like that. So simple rule changes, and we got rules discussions and tactical discussions. So we got a lot of everything in this very small scenario. Hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you at the end. Thanks a lot.
We're all off the board. So the Italian player starts moving first and must exit in the west, by the west side of the board. 10 or more victory points.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you guys know how to calculate the victory points pretty easily? Or do you always have to refer down to the actually how many points you need to have? So a squad is worth 2, right?
Yes.
And then half squads, obviously 1. Well, theoretically, obviously 1. And then every leader is 1 point. And then 1 more point for every minus modifier he has. So a 6 plus 1 is still worth 1 point. At 8-0 is still worth 1 point. 8 minus 1 is worth 2 points. So you don't have any of those, unfortunately, in this particular game. But those are extremely valuable. Anytime you guys are looking for a victory point game, if you're looking at a 9 and minus 2 leader, he is worth 3 victory points. So that's a huge chunk of change.
Okay.
So on the pregame, no, this is just a mechanic here. It's got nothing to do with the game strategy per se. But when you enter units from off board, you're supposed to set up all your units off board and then enter them like sequentially, sort of thing. It's sort of like they're all standing off board. It's like they're waiting in line, and then you put them up there. But that really isn't written clearly in the rule book, in my opinion. So that's got nothing to do with the play. I just wanted to let you guys know that. So in future games, just line your guys up. Plus, it helps you focus, right? It helps you focus on exactly what you're planning to do, and And sometimes you'll forget like a unit, and I had to do that last night. I was playing a game, and I had all my guys everywhere, and I could split guys up and things like that. And I had a lot of guys, and for me, I always screw up. I either leave guys off or put too many guys. You know, if I split a guy into a half squad, you know, in ASL, and sometimes I'll forget to take the squad off, and so I'll either end up with too many units, and then I go back and I change them. I don't want to break that guy up and make him back into a squad, and then sometimes I'll short myself, and so it also does sort of like counting. So if you had them all line up here, and because sometimes the OB is incorrect, if you line them up off board, sometimes it will be less likely that you'll forget a unit, or less likely that you'll add that extra unit on. So so now when we look at the scenario, so it's an exit scenario. So what don't we want to really do as the Italian player in this scenario? Remember, we're gonna break it down in terms of whenever we want to look at a scenario, you want to like dissect it like it's a science experiment. We need an objective, and that objective is the only thing that matters in the game, right? We could kill all the allied units, but if we don't exit, we lose, right? So the killing units is not imperative. It's exiting units is the prime target, what we're looking for. So how did you approach? Tell me. I'm sorry, Pablo. You were the Italian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I was Italian. Yeah.
What was your initial thoughts on this particular scenario? And okay, I want to go this way, or I want to leave guys here. I saw a couple things you did, and you'll get into that. But just initially of what you had here, okay, what was your initial plan of, okay, these guys are going to be busting ass and not looking back, and these guys are going to be doing that sort of thing. So just real quickly kind of go through your mental thoughts on how you approach the scenario.
Yeah. Okay. My initial idea was to leave an stack to cover the retreat of all the units that they were going to run through the other side of the table. Okay. And I was going to leave one stack in C7 and another one in B4. I think is. Let me see. Yeah.
Now tell me why.
They aim to leave them. Yep.
Tell me, why would you leave them in those specific locations?
In C7 because is the hardest point that I see in the map, close to the place where they were going to come into the map.
Okay.
So and that point covers a clear area that they need to cross to follow my units. Okay. So I thought that was a very good point to leave an stack with a medium machine gun that was broken, but I was confident that they were going to be able to recover it.
Yep.
So I leave it there. And the other one in B4 because it's better to leave it here than in the forest because the TAM is bigger. Right. So that was the point. And the rest of the units, for me, they had to run. They had to run to the other side of the map.
Right. I like those. I like your deciding those particular buildings at that point for exactly your reasons. C7, even if it isn't a stone building, let's say if it was woods, it like you said, it covers the entire top of the map.
Explanation.
And B4 covers the entire bottom part of the map. So you essentially have every single hex covered that he's going to be going through. So that's a good point. And you've got the extra added bonus of the cover, just like you said. So that's a good idea. And the medium machine gun, you could do a couple things with it. You chose to leave it there and fire on these guys at this particular location, and that's really key. So it looked like to me that you were wanting to give him a bloody nose early, and kind of keep him there before, other things. So that's a good plan. That's a good plan. It's slow him down as much as possible. Okay, cool. All right, go ahead, and then we'll and then your other units just hightail it to the end, right?
So sorry, I didn't hear the last question because I have problems with the audio.
Oh, it's okay. And so the remaining units are just going to go run to the end, like you said.
Yes, just run. Maybe I think that I was going to leave 1 or 2 stacks just one multi-man counter in the forest that is in the down part of the map, in the bottom part of the map, in G3 or G4.
Okay.
And the rest they were going to run, because I was confident that the stacking C7 was going to be able to cover and to resist the attacks from the other squads, from the Greek squads.
Okay. Yep. Okay. And they have a good. They also have good morale there as well. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of getting off, now the allied player can choose to enter the top or bottom, right?
Yeah.
This is reinforcement, so
No.
that's kind of like
The reformers, okay.
Yeah.
So he can come to the top or bottom, and so that kind of makes it hard for the Italian of which way to kind of go through there, because both routes are very good, or actually hard. It's hard to make the Greek, because the top route is obviously the open ground, and the bottom route is obviously open ground, and you have that little road there too. So that's actually a little bonus for the Italian.
Yeah. I divided my troops half on the top and half on the bottom. So I was going to use both paths to reach the other side of the map.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool, and yeah, you could use pretty much the whole map. So now when you're addressing, let's say he comes on, where do you with your strategy of moving your units and splitting them, where do you expect the is it the Greek player? Where do you expect the allied player to bring his reinforcements on? Given, if you were the allied player playing against your strategy, where would you bring those reinforcements on?
I would brought them, I think, in the bottom of the map, in maybe in set 0.
Go ahead and mark it on the map. Where was that?
Yeah. Sorry. Here.
Oh, okay, in the backside. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I think that's very good place, because he can move. You can move to fast to the left side of the map and close the two roads that exit the map.
Yep.
So because the movement points, I think that the Italians have, they are very close, or they are very short movement points to arrive to the other side. It's very close. If they run each time, each turn, when they are going to be going out of the map in the last turn almost.
Right. The little roadway can give them a little bonus. Yeah, that's a good spot. So
yeah.
So you're anticipating them down there, and then obviously you guys know the result. But let's progress the log a little bit more. Again, it's important. It's important to know. It's important to have a plan and try to stick to that plan as you're going along. And obviously, sometimes things can happen and screw up. So you guys obviously know what the result of the game is. So the 7-0 comes here, moves in there, and then we've got the 8-0 hightail in it there. Now, did
what did that?
1, 2. Now, were you supposed to have 2 leaders this stack or only 1? I noticed that on the thing. I'm not sure if that was like a duplicate.
No, just one leader.
Okay.
One leader. Now I had problems with the Basal.
Okay.
So sometimes I have problems to move the units from one stack to another. So,
okay, so is this an erroneous 7-0 leader, or is he stacked with somebody else? I saw there too.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, what? Wait, it's. Wow, that says it's an LMG. That's kind of weird. Do you guys have the scenario card? Maybe this guy's supposed to be an LMG, because he's labeled as an LMG, because somebody had to label that. So anyway, we'll just ignore that for now.
The light MG? No, there is not a light MG.
Yeah, because you know how it says the 8-0 says Italian leader B and Italian leader C, Italian leader D. Maybe they just labeled it wrong. So
yeah,
that's kind of weird. And so these guys CXing it. Yeah, I love that. Just like you said, the road. That road gives him tons of movement factors down the road. Now, we'll go at the end of this turn and I'll ask you a question and you can answer it for me.
Yeah. Okay.
And these guys are busting butt. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's your kind of like your split force there. Let me see if you have some more guys. And then here's your advanced phase. Do you have 3 leaders? I'm sorry. Do you have 3 leaders in this one or 4?
I think it's.
I have the scenario card here. It's 280 and 270. So 4.
Yeah.
So I forgot one.
Yeah. So this. Okay.
Yeah.
How many light machine guns? Jose?
No.
2 LMG and 1 MMG.
Yeah, this guy's a light machine gun. It is a light machine gun. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm just gonna clone this and put it down here. I thought it was a 7-0. So that's the first thing I saw. I was like, why is he moving both his leaders there?
Yeah.
So my question here is your movements. I like your movement. Your plan is coming to fruition because we have to move all fast, right?
Yeah.
What are these leaders? The allies are going to come on. They're going to come fight you, right? So they're going to come shoot you. If these guys break, will they rally? Will the allied player give you an opportunity to rally these units without DM?
I don't know. I think that if I were them, if I were the ally, I wouldn't give the Italian an opportunity to rally his leaders. But I expected that he was going to go after my my units as fast as he could. So maybe he would leave my leaders here without bothering them, so I could rally them or the units that were rotated. But I don't know.
Right. So these guys here, are these guys getting off the map?
No, I didn't want to. My plan was to lose these units.
Gotcha. That's
to leave them behind.
That's exactly where we're at. Now, since these guys aren't essentially moving at all, what resource can we use from these 2 locations to assist our other units in satisfying the victory conditions?
I don't know.
What can help us get off the board faster from these 2 locations?
I think the faster thing is to take the roads. So
no. What actual counters? What I'm getting at is since we're not going to be able to rally these guys, if these guys break, right, and these guys are to sit and die, right?
Yeah.
We can take the leaders because they can get in these locations. They can go 1, 2, 3, and then advance, and then this guy can go 1, 2, 3 and just stay there. The leaders can be used to go on some other stacks that we might have and get them forward a little bit more, right? This guy could technically be up 1 more hex. This guy could technically be up 1 more hex because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. CX those units, and then essentially our leaders are transport mechanisms in this game. That's why they give them 4. They're just transport mechanisms. You're not going to be rallying anybody in any time. There's not enough time in this scenario to really rally anyone. You've got 6 movement phases, and it's going to probably take you it'll take you just as many as possible to get over there. So
so you suggest that I should have taken the leaders with the units that were running to the other side,
right? Because he's only got a certain amount of leaders too, right, on his side. How many leaders does he have on his side? Jose, you got the card?
3.
He's got 3 leaders. So
yes,
if it's a leader versus leader run, one of these guys.
Well, I have 3 leaders in the beginning and 1 leader that entered with the reinforcement.
Oh, right, with the other guys, right? So, so what do you guys think in terms of I'll get to Jose when it's his turn. So we'll go to Jose's turn right now. So that's the advanced phase. But like I say, because this is a game of mobility, we're not really going to fight. These guys going to fight and die, and that's exactly what they're to be used for. And and if they're going to fight and die, if you're going to try to maximize the amount of damage these units can get on them. Another thing you might consider, I don't think it came into play per se, but well, the leaders help in not cowering, so I could see that being an option there, because you definitely don't want to cower, but you're going to get a lot, hopefully some -2 shots. But let's go to the Greek player. I'm not sure if Jose set up a board or not. And the Greek come on with like half movement factors. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's suppose I have spent 2 movement factors before entering the board.
Okay. So you could CX and you've got leaders and things like that. So Jose, what was your plan here in your particular setups?
Okay, as I wasn't allowed to use the assault movement because I have spent 2 movement factors before entering. My ideas was to run by the top side of the board.
Okay.
And try to diminish the difference in hexes that I have with him. My first idea was to come into the forest hexes in here. Okay. For example, or in here. But as you were saying a moment ago, if I start killing him and fighting and close combat with the units in the houses, I was going to lose lots and lots of time. So my idea was to run after him, more or less.
Okay. And then your thoughts on your reinforcing units. Where do you think you were going to put those? And what do you think the purpose of those reinforcing units is?
Okay, my idea with the reinforcements was it depends on the turn I have to enter the reinforcement.
That's random, right?
Where is he when I got my reinforcement ready to enter? So have 3, 4, 5 X's in the left of where more or less he has at this moment, and try to find some melee forest to enter. So probably in the south side or in the north side. Gotcha. My idea was if the reinforcements came in turn 2, for example, to enter north and try to occupy the buildings, the P8 and O8 buildings, and try to stop him from here. And in the reinforcements came in turn 3 or 4, maybe start over here in the forest, in Dixie Forest, in S1, S2, or around here.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, if you get in that building right there, he's not getting you out of that building, period. He simply just has to avoid you. So that can make a big difference in this scenario, because you could come in behind it, like through S10 through here, and you can make it there without even getting shot at. So that is, and this can cover, you got 10 hex range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You could legitimately shoot here and hit just a couple of hindrances. I mean, this a viable hex, and so that would funnel all of his units down this way. And so what do you think the purpose of the reinforcing units is to do? Is it to win the game for you, or is it to delay, or is it to block unit hexes, or what do you think the reinforcement units are for?
I think my idea was to delay the advance of the Italian, because if I see he's moving more MNCs in the north side of the board, I would place my reinforcements in the north side. Yeah, I would enter my reinforcements by the north side. If he's moving more MNCs by the south side of the board, I would enter my reinforcement by the outside. So I try to delay as much as possible his movement, to try to not to get all the MMCs by the west side.
Right. And delay them so they can exit. And what other, when you delay them, what does that also allow you to do in terms of your units coming already that already come on?
Yes, if I delay him, if I pin him, for example, I have some more time to I give some more time to the units that enter in the first turn to reach him and try to pin him shooting from the other side too.
Yes, exactly. So they're a delaying force for your units that had come on to catch up to them and finish them off. And notice, I want you gentlemen to notice both of your guys' OBs. So the Italians, are they good at shooting at long range? And what is their range?
Italians, four
range, I think. And it's 3 firepower, right? So it's really not that great.
Yeah.
Now the Allies, on the other hand, the Greeks, their range is what?
5.
And they got a couple I think they got a couple LMGs. No, just the one LMG. So the one, two LMGs. So two LMGs can reach out and touch someone at a range of 12 hexes, which is pretty good. Excuse me. So so if you don't even have to get within the Italians' regular range, like, you probably never want to. I mean, I don't say well never, but simply because of the open ground here, for you to get a good shot, if you advance, because the Italians, if they're firing, they're going to be in deep doo-doo. If you advance, instead of moving up through their range, if you advance into their 4th hex at the end of your turn, as soon as he moves 1 hex away, you get to fire at full firepower. So you'll still get that full firepower effect on there. So closing with him may or may not be the best thing, simply because you don't have good terrain to come up on him either. So this is tricky for the Greeks to kind of work out. Now, as you enter here, I think you could still assault move, but it's kind of tricky on how that's interpreted. I would assume they're running as well, and I would take that exact same assumption. When I first looked at the scenario cards, like, oh, I hadn't even thought of them not assault moving. But I think you make the accurate reading of the particular rules. It's like they're chasing them, so it's not like they like drop smoke or something behind them, and then now they're creeping forward. I think that's a perfect assumption. Now,
yeah, because if in the scenario card should say you have only 2 movement factors, I assume I could use assault movement. But as it said, I have already spent 2 movement factors. I think if I expended these movement factors, I wasn't allowed to use the assault movement.
Yeah, I believe that's the correct. I would 100% be on board for that as the correct assumption there. Now, how many points do the Italians have to get off? 10?
10.
Okay, so looking at what he's got here, if you stopped, let's say if your units came on, and they came on in 08, right? You got them on the top, let's say, for whatever, in our example, because he split them pretty evenly. I mean, this is about as even as you can get. If he split them pretty evenly and you just defended the top and you ignored the bottom, including the 7-0 in the back. So let's say the 7-0 wants to get off and he could try to get off. Let's count up how many points he has down on the bottom part from this unit to these 2 units to these other units. So this stack, this stack, this stack, and this stack. How many total victory points does he have in those stacks?
In the CX stacks, you see?
Yeah, so in G2, he's got 2, right? In F2, how many points does he have in F2?
I think 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, so he's got 6 so far. And then right here, he's got how many more?
In E5?
E5, correct.
In E5, there are 4 more.
Okay, so that's 10 total. So this, and this can satisfy his victory conditions for the end. Now these guys here, how much does he have up here? 1, 2, 3.
It's 9, I think.
9.
In the bottom part.
Right. So
4, 6, 7. No, sorry. Just it's 10.
Okay, so
because of the leader.
He's got 10 on each side. So, in terms of looking at scenarios, so if he loses, let's say this guy stops this force, or stops one unit. Let's say one of these, your entire incoming force, let's say, kills or breaks the half squad. Can he win?
If he breaks the half squad and stays without movement, well,
discounting these guys down here. Let's ignore these guys. Let's say these guys are the guys going to get off. How many guys do we need to break or kill to stop him from getting his victory conditions?
Yeah, it's one of them.
Just one of them, right? Okay. So you could. This guy doesn't necessarily have to defend the whole front. He only needs to defend one front. And given the way he's split up his units, that means the rest of the force only has to break one of these guys, right? So in terms of kind of like looking at, it's like, okay, he's got his units everywhere. Who do I want to attack? Because he needs 10. Obviously, he can get like half and half. That would be the chore there. But if one force happens to suppress the entire force, then you've got it made, because this other force down here only has to break one unit as well, right? So you've got 3 squads that only have to break one unit, because once he's broken, well, he's going to route forward. Once he's broken, he's going to be hard to rally because they're Italian units and like Allied miners. And these guys, again, I think we all agree that these guys were sent behind just to die. So you come on here now, right here. Tell me your thoughts about moving the entire stack on this location here, because you're not going to be able to move very far, right? So he's going to get some good shots on you.
Okay, but my idea was to move the whole stack, because to gain to gain the 2 movement factors I have lost before entering.
Okay.
Move with the leader to add 2, and CX to add 2 more to move 8.
All right. Okay.
So as I have 10 to 3 half squads and squad, so I have 10 points, and try to assault I9 in the to get a close combat, and try to hold him in a melee or win the close combat phase.
Okay. So you're buzzing up here now. What's the biggest danger in doing a giant stack moving like this in front of all of his units?
The main danger was if he gets some nice dice roll.
Right. So right now,
as you are about to see,
as I did.
Yeah, we're gonna see that pretty soon, right? Are we? We're gonna see. So even little Italian guys like this, right? This guy right here, that he's looking at a 2-2 shot or 2-1 shot, right?
Yeah.
Because the CX is not CX is just a dice roll modifier. It's not a hindrance of TEM. So you've got a 2-1, and that's a 7 is a pin task check, and this guy's a 6-1, and this guy, I'm not sure why this guy didn't fire. Tell me why you didn't fire that one right here, Pablo.
Which one?
The 7-0 when he moved up here. Were you saving it for this guy?
I don't remember. I think that he was too far.
Okay.
And I was expecting to fire him with the I9, with this one.
Oh, yes, right. Okay.
Yeah, but my idea, that's why I moved in the top bottom of the board, is as he's stacking here in C7. Right. The multi-man cutter has 4 range, but the half squad have only 3 range. He only could have fired me here at C10.
Right.
with both the half squad and squad,
Right.
because the other excess were 4 away.
Right. Now, I could also see him not firing on these units simply because they're all half squads. So even if that Greek unit or the Greek unit got up there, his range is rather short compared to the 4.57. So obviously the 4.57s plus the 8-1 leader is a much juicier target, and these guys could fire on these guys over here. So that's probably, in my opinion, as a spectator, why he may have held his fire, because this guy can simply just come right in here and get right in our face, and then we'd have a bad day at the end of the day, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and you, like I said, you've got plenty of units that could potentially take a shot. And hey, you do make it there, don't you? Look at that. So it looks like he's gonna fire, and he rolls the dreaded, the dreaded 4.
Yeah.
And so what the hell result is that? So it's a 4 minus 4, 4, 3. That's.
I think that it was 1 KA, something like
I
that.
think.
Oh, because it's 6 chart. It's 6 chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so you've got -1 in the open, -1 non-assault movement, but then you have the +1 for the counter exhaustion. Not that it would have made a difference in this case. So I think you guys counted it as a KIA, where it would have been a K2, but a K2 is just almost as bad anyway, simply because it's a 2 morale check. So
Okay.
I did see that. So here's your random selection for your units on the
Yeah.
kill. So remember,
And guess what?
yeah.
The random selection picked up the leader.
Oh yeah, you went backwards.
Yeah.
You went from sort of left to right, or bottom to top. I'll say. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I noticed that too. Say, oh, okay, you just got a half squad. Oh no, then you remove the leader. So
Yeah.
the leader dies.
Yeah, so it was the leader.
And then all these guys would typically break under the KAA. But again, K2. Let's being a K2, one of those guys would be casual reduced, which would have been the leader in this case. And then everybody else would take 2 morale checks. Again, 2 morale checks are very bad. You'd have to roll 5s just to pin, and you could just kind of burn down. I mean, if you just go to where is it? So it looks like 2 guys would have gotten through anyway. So 2 half squads. Essentially, it does the same thing as a KAA. The 2 half squads really aren't going to be hugely effective. The Italians really ain't got to worry about the 2 half squads that are remaining in that broken stack. So so the result is the same, and you breaking into open ground, that's going to be a bad spot, because you obviously can you route from here. If anybody were to break like here or here or here, could you route anywhere?
From F10,
no.
you mean?
Right, in F10. When they break there, are they going to be routing anywhere?
No, because I could try a low crawl to E10, but that would be closer to the stack in C7, I presume.
Right. It would be closer to this one here, but we'll get to the route phase in just a minute. So that was a bad thing. Again, whether it was a KAA or K2, the result was almost identical, right? Almost identical, because the leader would have been selected for the casual reduction, and there he would have died anyway, right? So the result is pretty much exactly the same. So that's not that big a deal. Again, sometimes you'll miss a modifier, but a lot of times the result will be exactly the same. Now these
as the shooter is CX, it's a -1. It's a +1 to the roll dice.
Correct. CX is very
Because
bad if you want to attack
Yeah.
anybody, especially like if they're in
We
buildings.
didn't apply it in the whole game.
No, in the whole game.
That's okay. That's okay. But again, in this case, it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes even if you forget something, it comes out that it really doesn't matter. And we just ran through the 2 morale checks, and only 2 guys made it, simply because it was a 2 morale check. It's hard to make a 2 morale check, even without even being pinned. And so and so it's, again, he really didn't have a viable force at that point. So these guys are coming on here, and your thoughts on here, Jose, when your whole force, essentially that stack is gone for the game for the most part. Now, what were your thoughts on these guys? Seeing that those guys just got blasted by the elite, these excellent Bazegliari Italian troops over here.
My idea was to follow them, because the only opportunity I have to try to rally these people, if possible, was to use the H-1 leader here in the stack.
Okay. Okay. So you got to follow the same plan. Continue. Oh, this. Oh, yeah.
But
This guy assaults these guys. Oh yeah.
yes,
Oh my
so
goodness.
Yeah.
have you seen the roll dice?
Again,
Oh my god, Pablo. What the hell,
And
Pablo?
I
have you seen that again? The random
I paid,
selection selected
I
the
paid
leader.
Marshall for this.
Oh my goodness.
Again, the random
Oh.
selection selecting my leader.
Oh my gosh. So that's a what does he get there? It's 8 firepower. That's 8 even. What do you roll? 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a K2. Yeah, it's exactly same. That is incredible. So here's your 2 morale checks.
Yep.
And again, same results at top, whether it's K or not. That is just bad. That was just bad luck. Bad luck. So and more than anything, it's your leader that was wounded, because now it's going to be harder for them to pursue. Even if he was if it was gone and everyone else was okay, it's still going to be harder to pursue his units, because you'll never catch his 8-0 on either side. And although you have the opportunity to CX in the second turn and he doesn't, it's still difficult because he'll be able to get to shoot at you. So yeah, that wasn't so good. And oh yeah, here comes your extra morale checks, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now the 12 was for whom?
The 12, I think, was for the leader.
Okay,
First was wounded, and now it's not wounded or unbroken.
Okay, now did you have the leader take a 2 morale check? Is that what happened?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think
because he was okay, because you wounded him and everyone else. Okay, I don't know, because some guys
8.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it was supposed to be the wound die roll and you hit the double dice instead. I'm thinking that's what that was, because the other guys had already taken the morale checks. I'm thinking that might be what that was. Is either the wound check.
Okay, try. See, move one or two steps ahead.
Backwards?
Maybe at.
Okay. Oh, okay. You just replace. Okay, yeah, you just replace it. So, yeah. So that looks like you took a morale check, since you replaced the unit. And so, although he's wounded, when you again,
I think the maybe the leader was an 8. No, an 8-0, and I replaced him with a 7-0.
Right. So again,
yes, it was an 8-1, and I replaced him with a 7-0.
Right. Now, why did you replace him with a 7-0?
Because of the 12 in the morale check.
Okay, the morale check was from the attack.
And the casualty reduction. The morale check was because of I don't remember.
Because it was a K2. It was a K2 result. So you casualty reduced him and you gave him a morale check. Is that correct?
I think.
Okay.
That's the.
Okay, that looks to me looks exactly what you did. So for the casualty reduction, so if you have a K on a unit, and it's confusing, this is across the board for all ASL players, especially ASLers. You know, the non-SK players. So when you roll a K result on a unit, you casualty reduce it, right? And so in this case, we casualty reduced 8-1, and we wounded him. And so he would take a wound die roll, right? Because he was wounded. Anytime you're wounded, you're casual reduced, you take a wound die roll. And so, 5 or 6, he dies, and otherwise he's fine, right? And so, and then that's for a leader. But a regular K2 result against a squad, you casual reduce it, so you half squad him, right? So you immediately turn him into a half squad, and then. Well, 1 is selected, like you did. You selected 1. You casual reduce it, and then all the other multi-man counters take the 2 morale check. The single-man counter, if he's selected for the casualty, the K result, he does not take the 2 morale check.
Uh-huh.
Only the multi-man counters in the hex. Like, let's say a squad
Okay.
took the K2, he would be
Mm-hmm.
casualty reduced, and everybody else, including the leader, would take a 2 morale check. But if the
Yeah.
leader, only if the leader or single man counter takes a K, excuse me, he doesn't take the ensuing 2 morale check. Again, in this
Uh-huh.
case, it didn't matter. They're all broken.
Yeah.
All hell's broken loose. It didn't really matter in the game, but that can make a big difference in terms of keeping your leaders alive, because
Yes.
Okay.
because
Okay.
he's wounded already, and he's already taken a wound check die roll for that, right? So that's like he could possibly die from that. And if you roll a morale check on him on top of that, and this is why they do it. If you roll a morale check on top of that, so now if he's wounded, he has a 7 morale, right? So if he needs to roll a 2 morale check, that means he needs to roll 5. And what happens if he fails the morale check again? He's a wounded leader, already wounded. Actually, he would just be broken. And so it's like double jeopardy, sort of concept, where you're kind of like getting attacked twice. The same unit, the same physical guys getting attacked twice. But leaders are the exception to the casualty, the K1, K2, K3 rule. You only casualty reduce him. He's exempt from any morale check, but all the other units in the location or in the hex or whoever he's moving with take the morale check. So only multi-man counters are the ones that are going to get killed and then take the morale check. So, but again, in this case, didn't really matter too much. You were already wounded. This guy was pretty much going to be out of the fight. But just let me find the rule for you on that one there. Just to give you some reference. I want to give you guys some reference. So that would be a K2 casualty reduction. It's probably just in the fire phase. It'll be in the results. And I just want to show it to you so you guys don't think, oh, this guy is just making stuff up. So HIJK. Oh, it's not there. Okay.
Yeah.
But it'll be under fire attacks. Oh, this thing's not scrolling very fast. There you go. Of course, I want to make sure I get it right. Again, they may have changed it for SK, so I may be completely wrong on that. Oh, here we go. And here's the tricky part. And again, this is I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they chose their wording the way they did, or why they didn't add in some extra words. So the K number, this is on page number 9 of the SK4 rulebook. Okay.
Yes.
So what's the K number? Oh, why is it scrolling? Okay. One unit suffers casualty reduction, and all other target units, including any just reduced half squad, must take a morale check added to the particular number. That to me is a very confusing sentence, simply because a lot of people ignore the including any just reduced half squad. The problem with that is, since he's not a half squad, that excludes him from taking the extra morale check dice roll. Now, I'm not saying most of your ASLs got this right the first time, because it doesn't really make any sense the way they wrote it. I mean, in terms of understanding the rule, it should have said, all other units must take a morale check. Any K leader, any K single man counter is exempt, or something like that. It should tell you who doesn't have to roll instead of who all needs to roll. So it kind of like exempts the single man counter without actually saying that he's exempt. It's I don't like the way they've written that. I think it's doesn't really get the point across, and I know everybody gets this wrong the first couple times they play it.
Okay.
Simply because it's just not written really clearly, and I'm victim to this as well. I just thought they would just do the morale check too, until it's like, oh yeah, that makes little sense, but you have to like read it slowly and backwards. So again, I think, in my opinion, written poorly. It wasn't written to give you guys clarity on a rule. It's just a rule that, if you read it by itself, it's true that single man counters don't have to take the morale check, but it's not very clear at all if you're just kind of reading the sentence. You know what I'm saying? It's you
Yeah.
know, it's as clear as my explanation. How about that? It's still murky. So, but yeah, it's just including any just reduced half squad. So if you didn't, that one unit was casual reduced, is not presently a half squad, then he doesn't have to take it. So it's like an exclusionary thing. I don't like the way it's written. I know when you get so many players that misinterpret that rule, it's a problem. It's a problem. I think they
Yeah.
just need a little bit of clarity, and
Okay.
I'm not sure why that. But that's again the end result that we have here is going to be exactly the same. You're going to have a wounded leader, whether he's a 7-0 or an 8-1. His game is practically over because he's not going to be chasing anybody down. So
Yes.
it's pretty much the same result. So yeah, he got a really good roll there. Now, so you moved full. Yeah, you moved full there. Okay. And I think that guy's right there. And this guy down here is really busting ass. He's coming after him. And
Yeah.
what? Oh, 8. Oh, because he's got a whole bunch of firepower. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, how much firepower did you fire from here, Pablo?
I think I fired 2, 3, 5, 6, 8.
8 firepower.
Yeah.
All right. And so that's an 8. An 8, and he's not assault moving, and the +1 hindrance cancel, right? So it should be an 8 even. All right. Just in terms of that's a good shot. Let's see the result. So I think we'll get breaks. 2 guy.
Yeah.
You do it. Okay. So 2 guys break here. So one rule that you'll have to check up on, and this is when you distributed your units, I was looking. It's like, okay, why is he got that guy eligible? Now, full squads, how many support weapons can they use?
For squads, one with his one keeping his inherent firepower, and 2 without keeping his inherent firepower.
Perfect. Half squads. Tell me how many
Yeah.
they can use.
Oh, yeah.
Half squad can
Yes. I see.
There you go. So, okay,
I shouldn't have used the half squad inherent firepower.
Exactly.
Is it?
Again,
Yeah.
another common error. Not a big deal, but in this case for Jose's Greeks, it made a difference. But yeah.
Yeah.
So half squads either use the support weapon or their inherent firepower for their initial shot, right?
Okay.
And this is where some confusion might come in later. So you get to use the LMG or you. Obviously, you're going to use the LMG because of more firepower for 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Now, because essentially what you do is when you're defensive firing with a half squad, if you have a support weapon, and in the ASL rulebook, it's still confusing to all players at this time that it says it forfeits its firepower for the inherent firepower for the remainder of the turn. Again, terrible description, terrible whatever you want to call it. If he uses the support weapon, he forfeits his firepower. If he doesn't use the support weapon, he doesn't forfeit it. So in this case, let's say your support weapon malfunctioned or something like that, right, on the first shot, and then he moves closer to you. You could subsequent first fire with your inherent firepower. It's just the first fire opportunities you're giving up. So you can't fire your 1 firepower and your 2 together, but you could fire them separately as first fire, like your first shot, right? And then if for whatever reason you don't want to sustain fire or intensify the LMG to make it break down, let's say you don't want to make it break down, then you can fire your inherent as if you had already first fired, but you kind of didn't. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So in a normal fight, let me do it counterwise. So I'm going to take these guys. Let me clone them actually, because sometimes it screws up the log. Let me put this guy back over here and clone him. So when the 347 fires only his light machine gun, right? Then the light machine
Yeah.
gun is support weapon. So this guy gets to fire on the bottom as well. So, and if you guys know this, just let me just say, hey, Stu, we know what this. But so he could fire the support weapon, and then he could fire this at some other target. So essentially, they can kind of get 2 first fires on this stack, right? One for the squad and one for the if they fire at 2 different targets. So you could put them at 2 different times. When this stack fires, you're either going to fire the inherent firepower of the squad as first fire, because that's the way he's not forfeiting it. But if you fire the LMG, this unit acts like he's already first fire. So they kind of, even though he doesn't add his firepower, like over here, the LMG fires and he still can fire. Over here, when the LMG fires, it's as if they both fired, but you don't add his firepower. So he's used up for that turn. Now let's say this malfunctions on that shot, right? So now he's still first fired, right? Because essentially, conceptually, they both have fired at this point. Now, if somebody else moves adjacent to him or something like that, or within range, then this unit could then subsequent first fire. It's not going to be much, obviously, because it's a 1, but like the Greeks are 2. So that's the concept behind that. But you caught it. You knew exactly what I was talking about when we were getting in there. But as long as this is the way I think of it, because it's easier than we're actually reading the rule, is I just consider, if you fire 1, they should consider them both first fired. And over here, the squad gets the opportunity to fire support weapon or fire this first and then fire support weapon later, and then subsequent first fire both of them, at a later time, at the same target or something or whatever. Yeah. Well, actually at the same target, because once one subsequent fires, right? Sorry if I'm going. So if they both first fire at different targets, let's just say they fire at the same target or different targets. If they both first fire, and then the LMG fires at some other target, then they both are considered final fired at that point. So if they both have a first fire, they both are final fired. If only one gets a first fire in this case, like that, then but if he fires again, if this first fire marker fires again, then this guy's also marked with a final fire.
Okay.
Because it fires twice. So you want to fire this, hopefully fire this later, and then you have one other opportunity to kind of fire them both together. So so essentially you can get 3 shots out of a unit. So, but that's kind of what we're looking at there, and you caught it. Does it make a difference in this one? I'm not so sure that it does, but and you've got some other fire up there. He tries to fire back. Oh, you do get to repair. Oh my gosh, you do repair the medium. Oh, add insult to injury.
I repair.
Oh my god. Okay, tell me on the routing here. These now let's go to the routing phase, and this is like a little routing lesson. So this guy, I think, did you route him backwards? Let's see. Oh yeah. So this guy is how far is he away from this unit here? And this is the danger that we're looking at for this. So that's a range of 5, and so this is a range of 4. So he couldn't technically route this direction, because now he's getting closer to an enemy unit regardless of the range. He's getting closer to an enemy unit. So the next question you say is, he's in open ground. Does he have to route here? Right? Does he have to route from that location? And what do you guys tell me? Is he forced to route when he's at that location? Obviously these guys are, because they're adjacent to an enemy unit, right? So he has to route back. That's fine. Now this guy, does he have to route? This is an odd situation. So does he have to route?
The stack in F10?
The stack in F10, yes.
Yes, because I think I thought yes, because I am in open ground and in the normal range of these 2 units.
Right. Now, tell me. Let's see. Let me clone this guy. So if you're, let's say you're broken over here, right? And I'm gonna clone this guy here. And this guy is right here. Okay, CX, no CX. and this guy's DM'd. Pull the DM. Okay. Do you have to route in this situation?
No.
No, because of the hindrance of the green.
Correct.
I think.
So this isn't
Yeah.
defined as open ground at that point, right? So, and pretty much you'll have to be able to like interdict as well. So the situation we have up here is what's afflicting these two units? What are these two units kind of like normal units in terms of what they can do, or do they have limitations?
The two Italians, you mean, in
Yeah.
G8 and
Right, the G8. These
the RCX, but I think I don't know because of you are making this question if this affect to being in good order.
well, in good
In
order,
CX.
or essentially they have a positive modifier.
Yeah.
I'll have to look
Now
that up.
now we
Yes.
know they have a positive modifier.
Positive
Yeah,
modifier.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's true. During the game, you would think you'd have to route them.
Yeah.
So I believe, notwithstanding SK. Now, mind you, I'm not a pro at SK, and I'm not a pro at ASL either. But mind you that anytime that you have a positive modifier, that will always cancel interdiction, right? You know that you guys not, even if you route normally here, these won't be interdicted from these units even though you go into this location because they have the CX on them. Now, in terms of the routing in the open ground, you did get the first fire move in the open modifier, and so technically that defines open ground. Like we were down here, you were in open ground because you had a positive modifier applied to him. So by definition, that takes the open ground status, the definition, away from that unit. Even though by all means that is typically a normally open ground hex. But in terms of making that an open ground hex, for first fire move in the open, you have to avoid all modifiers going into that hex. That might be the same situation here. But again, I don't think it really mattered. I'll clarify that at the end, and I'll get back to that too. I just want to double check on that. But in my opinion, I don't think that you have to route at all from here. But keep that in mind. Let's assume let's just make a giant assumption that I might be right. As soon as this weapon gets repaired, and let's say these units were up here anyway. And let's say that's the way you played it instead of the route there, because obviously you can't get closer. As soon as this LMG medium machine gun gets repaired, how does that change this guy's situation?
Now they are in range of the MMG.
Right. Now even if these guys couldn't force this guy to route, now the MMG forces the route, and then what happens to those units?
They are off.
They're gonna be in bad trouble. Yeah, they're gonna be in bad trouble because I think he routed here, and yeah, you routed him there. Oh yeah, actually, there you go. These guys are right here. Again, every time you move it, I don't like to move the units on board. That's why I like to clone them, because sometimes it screws up the log. So yeah, these guys are going to be bad. These guys can do what? No, you move these guys up here, and again, it's not going to make any difference in the gameplay, but just in terms of the concept of routing, can these guys route anywhere? Let's say this is the route phase. Can these guys route anywhere?
No.
Now I see that. Now I see it. No, because every time I move to the east side of the board, I'm getting closer to the stack with the 7-0 on the top.
Right. So this range is what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Right. And what's the range of D10?
The same.
Right. So you're not actually getting closer. So you could technically low crawl here. Again.
Yeah.
There's no terrain up there. You're kind of dead anyway. It's just a matter of time. These guys are dead. But for all intents and purposes, these guys are dead from the game as soon as they broke over here. But in terms of routing, you technically still have an opportunity to rally one unit. And the CX is gone. To rally one unit with a lucky snake eyes on that one guy there. But if
and I have a full squad following me in the opposite side where he is going to he must move.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys,
I'm pushing him.
Yeah, these guys are doomed there. So but you're still technically not getting closer to this guy. So, like in another game, like this game, these guys are done, right? We know these guys are done. But in another game, especially the way this scenario is depicted, he can still route to that location, and in desperation, you might be able to get somebody out. I mean, that's like super desperation. But but in terms of, let's say this guy wanted to pursue you even more, right? You want that, right? You want this guy to pursue you and keep harassing you. Why is that? Because he's not getting off the board, right?
Yeah.
Every movement phase, he's moving to the right. He's not moving to the left, and so therefore you just cost him two victory points that could possibly get off the board. Now, could he get off there later? Maybe, but if you bring reinforcements on and this guy's lagging behind and he gets caught out in the open somewhere, that could be very costly later on. So these guys are doomed. Coming back to try and destroy these guys simply because they don't have a leader might be disastrous. And that's why I always say focus on the victory conditions. Killing these units part of the victory conditions? You pretty much did that anyway, right? These guys aren't going to rally, so we might want to just forget those guys. Plus, we got our medium, right? We fixed our medium. We have lots of shots going on over here, and all these guys are broken. This guy's got the situation well in hand. So, again, make sure we focus on the victory conditions, because now these guys are clear. These guys are happy. All these guys on top are happy because now they can just run forever and not have to worry about it. So again, that's just a point of make sure you keep your focus. If you knew where if his reinforcements were already on, and let's say there were going to be a block. Let's say he got his reinforcements on and they came here. Yeah, at that point, you might want to throw a guy back here just to make sure that this leader doesn't go over there and rally him. I would say that would be a good choice that you could possibly make. And then because this guy's going to have to get out of the way, so he's going to be slowed up. Since most of your force is going to be slowed up here if they come on here. At that point, go ahead and finish him off, right? You kind of want to finish him off because then these guys are going to be clear here. So just to make sure you just take the situation as it pertains to the victory conditions. Every single turn, I would encourage you guys to refocus and, okay, what is my objective in this scenario? I need to get off. Will killing those units help me get off? If the answer is yes, then go kill them. If the answer is no, you might have said, well, will it help me later or earlier? Will it hurt me? This is the next question. Will it hurt me if I go after those units? And if the answer is yes, then you don't want to do it. So just two questions. Does it help me? Does what I'm doing help me win the game? If the answer is no, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, you go to the next question. If what I'm doing can assist that unit or other units in winning the game, can I do that? And you already did this right here, and by putting these guys' units here, right? These guys aren't getting off, but will they help you win the game? Yes. I mean, this guy already showed you that. He's broke all these guys. This guy hasn't fired, so technically he hasn't done that, but it's no big deal. I mean, you set these guys up for a purpose, and the purpose was to delay these guys, which you did, and they succeeded, and they're helping you win the game at that point. Will they get off? No. That's what these guys are for. These guys have a different role than these guys, and so that's what you focus on. And I'm glad you pointed that out. And the same thing with you, Jose, is getting these guys on. It's like I need to kind of jump these guys either in close combat here or something like that. That's perfect in close combat here, because guess what? He's got to reach out and touch someone weapon right there, 10 range. That's pretty crazy. If you can get a hold of that and you stick it up here, you're going to be firing on him when he's way over here. So that's I like the attack on C7. He just happened to get a good roll, which it happens in squad leader. It just happens.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, I didn't want to drop off track there, but this is a good route lesson where if you keep him alive for like another phase or two, he might be more inclined to come after you, which means he's not leaving the board. So even though we know they're all dead, all three of us know these guys are out of the game, but they can still serve a purpose in distracting some of these guys. He might fire on him instead of him over here. If he has no target over here, You know, he might want to split the target. He might want to go 3 firepower over here and then the machine gun over here. And maybe he missed on the machine gun and we could have added the firepower. Will they get DM'd? Sure, they're still going to be DM'd. But you never know. You never know. Anytime you can split somebody's firepower, make him make a decision he doesn't want to, you're winning the game. Every single time. I don't care what the dice roll result on that. If you're making him make a split decision, it's like, do I do this or do I that? And he just chooses one, then you're winning the game. If you don't give him a choice, you know, like as you moved in the whole stack, you didn't give him a choice. He had one target to fire at, so he took that target and he shot, and then we saw there. No, let's go with the. So you first fired there again. You got your range, you got your firepower. It just didn't happen to affect. Actually, you pinned the guy, so that's excellent. You actually pinned these guys. These guys moving over there, not a big deal, because that's just going to happen. The 8-0 on top, that's, you know, there's no pursuit possibility right there. And these guys here, they move and now they're advanced firing. Oh, those guys, oh, oof. Now, I think this was the route phase. I think this is the route phase right here.
This is the route phase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, again, revisiting the route rules. Again, this is very important. This is probably the biggest. Even though it doesn't make a difference, it will make a difference, right? So this guy would have stayed alive for another partial turn. Now this guy here, where can he route to, or can he route at all? So he cannot route here, right? Because it's adjacent to him, and he can't go to B6. Question is, can he go to this location? Can he move here?
Which one?
A6.
Yeah, A6. This little half X. Can he move there?
I don't think so, because he's in open ground and closer to the stacking in B4.
And in line of sight.
Can he see this unit from his initial location? Does that have a line of sight between the two? Go ahead and draw it if you want to. Actually, take a look at it. Do you think that's a line of sight between those two units? In this location and this location. Clear the board and then tell me if that's a line of sight. By your just eyeballing it.
I think not in B7, but in A7, but yes in A6.
Correct. And that's the stipulation. If I don't see this unit has to route. So let's say this unit doesn't exist. Where is this unit's routing destination?
Okay, in A6.
A6, yeah.
Yeah, so he has to go to building or woods, right? Building or woods. So the closest in movement factors is which? The closest terrain and movement factors for this unit here is what location or locations? There could be more than one. So if he's
I think A6 only.
No, he can go to B6, right?
But
B5,
he would
B5.
be adjacent.
No, B5, not B6, B5.
Yeah, for final destination.
Yeah, so in this case, he could go 1, 2, 3, and then since there's a building here, he can go 4, 5, and be happy right there. Or technically, he can go 1, 2, 3, and then go over here, or he can go over here for 1. So he can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically, he could route the whole way over here. Because once he gets here, he sees this unit, and now he's moving over here, doesn't get any closer to him. And he doesn't have a line of sight over here. So, with this unit being here, he doesn't have a line of sight to him, so he doesn't know, this unit exists for routing purposes. Only for routing purposes. So he can low crawl here, because that would be a legal route.
But,
and now he sees this guy, says, okay, even if he didn't low
but
crawl.
Now he doesn't have a place to go.
Right. Now, even if he didn't low crawl and you move there, what would happen? He would see him, and now he has no place to go, so he has to stop. So if he did not low crawl, he would be subject to interdiction, right? Because these guys have a range to that location. But because you know it as a player and not as a soldier, you know that you're just going to low crawl there so you don't take interdiction. But technically, these guys could go here, stay alive. And again, the same example up here, what does that do for the Italian player? Now he has to make a decision. Do I come over this guy and kill them all? Or can I hightail it? Or can this guy go after this guy? Do you see what I'm saying? Now you're giving the 7-0 here a choice for this location or that location. And some players will say, okay, this guy's got an LMG and a 4.57 and 8.0. I might not want to attack that. I'm just going to take my free kill here, right? And so the Italian player, not necessarily Pablo, but an Italian player might decide just to go for the kill. Again, is that part of our victory conditions? Nope. Nope. And considering these guys got just demolished up here, this guy could actually have the potential to re-enter the game in terms of exiting. And how is that? Just like Pablo moved before, you get a nice big fat road here that this guy can just haul butt down the road. So this guy can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, advance, and he's the same distance where these guys are. So, but by looking at this and seeing this as, yes, they're going to die later, most likely, and yes, they're pretty much out of the game. But if your opponent makes the error and wanting to come over and finish him off, you just cost him 7 hexes of movement.
Yeah.
Because you're distracting him with somebody that's going to keep him from winning the game. And that's exactly what you want to do with your broken units. If they got nothing else to do, try to distract your opponent by making him come after him or something like that. Because if I'm the 7-0 here, this is free, this isn't free. If I go here, I'm probably going to get broken because that's a lot of firepower, you know. And if I break, I'm not going to rally because there's not enough time to rally and get off the board. Remember, getting off the board is our essentially prime directive. So, but yes, you could route to this location, stay alive for one more player turn, and then you'll die after that, right? But that one more player turn can make the difference. You know, by the same description that we have up here. You could distract him. This guy's advanced fire, right? He moved here instead of moving 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes and then advancing over here. This guy, for all intents and purposes, should be in this location. That's a full turn. That's another turn back. Now, let's look at the time involved. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more axis turns. Can this guy make it off in 4 turns? So he's not counter exhausted. So in turn 3, he's going to counter exhaust, right? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, advance. So he's in M9. I'm going to clone him. And I'm going to make him berserk. That way we can mark him, right? So that is turn 3, right? And that's with an advance. Turn 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's not get shot out of nothing. And then advance. Turn 4. Turn 5. 1, 2.5. 3.5. I think we could CX this turn. 4. In that case, 4, 5, 6. Advance. Now he's CX'd, right? Because he's CX'd at this point. Because you alternate every single turn. Now, since he's CX'd, this is turn 6. Can this unit get off the board?
No. No.
1, 2, 3,
2,
4.
3, 4.
Advance.
And that's it.
He's 1 hex short.
Yeah.
Keeping these guys alive, forcing them to come here, or moving that direction, literally 1 hex, means this guy is no longer part of the victory conditions in terms of getting off the board. So do you see how that one little move backwards means these guys did their job? For all intents and purposes, these guys broke this unit, and he's no longer in the game. Exactly the same result, because guess what? He can't prep fire at all during the entire time he's moving, and he's still short a hex.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to look at in that sort of distinction. And you want to look for every little scraping advantage that you can get. Say, you know, and so, but again, if you guys misplayed it, not a big deal. He still moved over there, and he still, these guys succeeded. If these guys pull this guy, they succeeded. Okay? Even though they're broken, they can still succeed.
I don't have a clear why can I low crawl into V6, coming closer to the stacking before.
Why can or why can't you?
Why can I low crawl into A6?
Oh, why can you?
Why? Yes.
Why can you? Because this unit is not in line of sight, just like these guys aren't in line of sight, right? So if I don't see any enemy units, I can go these broken units don't know that there's somebody there. You know that there's somebody there as a player, but
Okay, but when I get into A6, I do come into the line of sight of the stack.
correct, and then you have to stop route, and then you have to stop routing in this general direction, and then obviously you can't go to B6, and you can't, but you just stop because you didn't start the rally phase there in the open ground hex, right?
Yeah, I think I got it out. So
but you can
when I started the routing in A7, I wasn't in the line of sight of the stack in B4.
Correct.
After I moved,
yeah. Go ahead.
After I move into B6 in A6, now he sees me and he could interdict me. But if I've done a low crawl, he can't do anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're not vulnerable. Now, next turn, if this were next turn, right? Nothing has changed. You know, these guys are still here. These guys are still here. You tell me what the result would be. Where could you route to, if anywhere? You're in the open ground. You're starting the route phase in open ground in normal range. So you must route, correct? You guys know that rule.
Yeah.
You guys told me that rule before. That's a big part. Normal range of a unit. That's very key. So you have to route. Where can you route?
Out of the board. Only.
Well, technically you could route here and here because you're not in line of sight to this unit, right? So
where? Sorry.
Here or here.
He could do low crawl to B6 or A7.
You know that's going to kill him, right?
Yeah.
But think of it this way. So are these guys eliminated? They look like it. But just slow down. Take the route rules for what they are. What hexes can we not move to from this location? Who does he see?
He's in the line of sight of the stacking before.
Yeah, the 7-0, right?
I think.
So he can see these guys. He cannot see these guys anymore, right? Units do not have memory. They don't know that those guys exist technically for routing purposes.
Yeah.
Can we route here to go to this location?
You mean B6? I don't know. I don't see the.
Oh, so at A6, can we route down to this location? Can we go here and then there? Is that a legal route?
I don't see the movement in my screen.
I'm not moving anybody. I'm just Do you see the circle? I'm highlighting A5.
No, we don't see it.
We don't see it.
It says sending info to Jose. Maybe we disconnected or something. Did you guys disconnect on your end?
No,
I'm here.
No.
Okay.
We're here.
Okay. Let me disconnect and then reconnect with you guys.
Okay.
I didn't see a disconnect on my end, but sometimes that does that. And let me re-enter the room. Where are we? There we go.
Okay.
No. Because sometimes it does that. Okay. So can you see the circle? Oh, no. Can you see the circle now?
No. I don't see it. I see that you have marked the stack, but the circle is not in the screen.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Go ahead and leave the room and come back in the room.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure why you can't see the thing. Interesting. Because sometimes it'll glitch it out. Interesting. Okay. How do you pronounce your last name, Pablo?
My last name, Durandegi.
Durandegi.
It's a bit complicated.
The accent.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. It's Basque.
No, it's okay. It's I know it's like it's not a really Spanish name that I've seen, but yeah. But I didn't know where the accent would be on your name. So
Durandegi.
That's cool. That's pretty cool name. Pretty cool. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
So can you see the
circle? I'm back. Jose is back. Yeah.
Okay. So Jose, can you guys see the circle now?
Nope.
Okay, you guys put a circle. Somebody circle D5 and somebody circle D7. Do like the red circle.
D5.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
D7.
Yeah. We see it.
All right, and you can't see mine, right?
No. I don't see it.
That's kind of weird. Anyway, so You tell me where the unit right now in the beginning of route phase. You click. You tell me where he cannot the hexes that he absolutely cannot route to, and why.
He can. Okay. For me, he cannot route to A5 because he's in line of sight of B4 and is getting closer to him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He cannot route to B5 because it's the same.
Okay.
And for me, he can route to B6 or A6. A7.
Okay. So
He
those,
can do low crawl to those locations. I'm not sure, but I think that he can do it.
okay. Can he route
And
without
die
low
there.
crawl? Can he route without low crawl?
Without low crawl, yes, I think he can.
Okay. Okay. So move the stack to A7 and tell me the result.
Yeah.
Let's say he just routes there. Low crawl, we know he'll die because he can't move after low crawl. So let's just route him. Route him to A7.
If he moves,
move the whole
sorry,
stack.
because I have lost connection. One second.
Yeah. See, it says sending game. Okay. Jose.
Okay. Maybe, let me see. Maybe if he moves to A7.
Did you see the stack move?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The stack move. So
Yeah.
he routes there.
Then he has to go back.
Right. So if he routes here, whether low crawl or normally route, he dies. Right? Because he can't continue moving here and he can't go back here because at the beginning of his route phase, he knew these guys existed. So now he can't go back here because he knew they existed. So there's a death. The only hex we have to consider is B6. Let's route to B6. Now what happens?
That he can route to C6. And he's safe.
Right. Can he continue to route from there?
Yes, to D5.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Do you see how now he just got around the Italian units?
Yeah.
So these guys, and let's say you roll some snake eyes later on, and this guy pops up.
Yeah.
In the next rally phase, because that was route phase, and these guys are probably going to do advanced phase, something like this, right? They're probably going to do something like that, and this guy gets a lucky route. Now, this guy's just re-entered the game. He either probably most likely pursue these guys and ignore these guys because he knows these guys are out of it, and his buddies are dead. So he's probably going to be doing something like this, maybe in desperation. I don't know. I don't know what to do. The whole point is, it gives him an opportunity to route to a location where he could possibly survive the game later. And again, these guys are going to be doing what? What are these Italian units in this G row going to be doing? Are they going to be coming back to attack this unit here in D5? Or are they going to be continuing trying to satisfy their victory conditions?
Yeah.
Right? They're going to try and satisfy their victory conditions. So these units here and here, the units that are on the B row, are probably going to come back and try and surround the unit in D5 to get rid of him. But you have the unit in D2 that might have other, have other answers to that. He might want to fire on him. He might get a lucky shot, whatever. Or he's going to pursue the Italian. So always look at your options on what you could do in terms of routing. And sometimes it looks, and again, last night I was playing a game with my opponent, and there was a routing situation that came up, and it looked like it was an obvious route. That was even to both of us. Like, oh man, he moved a leader. Now he's going to route to his leader. I can't fire on him. I can't do anything like that. But then we checked an LOS to a unit that was like 8 hexes away. That was not even in the vicinity of that unit. Say, oh, you're getting closer to that guy. You can't go to your leader. You have to go to the other way. And so, like I say, you always check it. No matter what experience level a player may be, always check to see what your options are available. Just look at every hex, right? It's easy to see that A5 is a no-go, B5 is a no-go, right? Those are obvious. And then A7's a no-go. We can't go there. But B6, it may look like it's a no-go, but it's adjacent to enemy unit. But can we continue to move from there? And the answer, as Pablo points out, is yes, we can continue to route in the other direction. Will that win us the game? No. But again, it gives us units a possibility to get up. Now look what we have down here on the bottom, right? Because it's going to become the Greeks player turn. We have a leader in D2 and some units that actually can get to D5 and try to rally those units with protection. That is a possibility. And so never discount the options that you may have in particular. I would probably go to the units in C2 simply because they're not desperation morale. But, I mean, the situation might be such that going to D5 is the better choice. I don't know. We never reached that point. But again, that's a player's choice. Do I want to risk my leader doing that? Or do I want to ignore the broken guys here and just continue to pursue? All these answers that we always get these questions asked us as just players. And so we as players make the decisions that we like to make on that. So, but again, just I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go on.
So just as a routing examples, we saw two examples: the one up top and the one down bottom that could be used. One guy could actually route. Which, to be honest with you, the guy on the bottom looks like he's pinned, but he's the only one that can get out. And the guy on the top looks like he could route, but he's the one that's screwed, right? So, so it's just one of those things where make sure you look at the route phase and you look at it carefully. Don't overanalyze it, of course, but always keep your options open. You know. And you'll be surprised at what you find out. And to be honest with you, I thought it was dead too. It's like, oh wait, B6, C5. I had to stop and think, wait, B6, and then he's clear. He can kind of get that way. You can kind of cheat the system that way. So, but and I can't advance? Oh, I must have synced to you guys. Do you guys have let me reload the game. Because I think I synced you. Do you guys have the advance button? The step button on the log?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because what happened was I left the room, came back in, synced to one of you guys, and then it lost the log because I didn't have the log load.
Okay.
I'll get the log. I'll get the log to play. It takes like 2 seconds. Oh, go ahead and resync to me. If you want to resync to me, that's fine because I'm running the log. Running the log through. Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't catch these little intricacies in the route the first time through. To be honest, I only caught these discussing with you guys. Yeah. Again, reflecting back on what you've got, it changes the whole time just by slowing down and looking. Oh, those guys are DM. Okay, cool. Yeah, those guys are screwed. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So are you synced to me right now?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my red circle?
Just so it. Yeah.
You can see it. Oh, good. How do you get your circles to like do the little bouncing thing, the tinging? How do you get to go in and out? Like, because your circles to me they kind of shrink down to the middle. Mine's just a regular circle. Mine doesn't shrink down.
No.
Or maybe it does. Maybe it does on your end. Because mine, when I click on H6, what do you see?
I don't see
nothing.
You don't
nothing at all.
You don't see anything. That is so strange. Okay, I'll have to designate the hexes. All right, so we're at this point here. Jose, do you see it? Do you see where we are? The broken units are gone from the right, and we've got a unit in E4. Do you see that, Jose?
E4. Yes, my stack is in E4.
Yeah. Okay. Agree. I just want to make sure that at least we're resynced to the guys. So you move some guys up there, and then we got a couple shots. Oh God, these threes from Pablo are just killing us. So.
I'm good.
Oh my God. That's bad news there. So those guys are at that point those guys are definitely gone up top, right?
Yes.
Over here.
Yes.
And that's because they can't route here because now that's getting close to this guy, so those guys are 100% gone. Yes. But again, you did your job because now this guy is totally not getting off the board because of the delay. And so that's the leader still might be able to, but we'll see what happens. And these guys are just all broken, so the Italians are looking pretty here. So I'm just going to scoot to the right. I'm going to get to the point where... So now the Italians are just busting ass, getting the hell off the board. And you got your reinforcements late, didn't you?
Yeah, that's another point.
The last turn possible. Yeah.
The last opportunity, the last turn in turn 4, I got my final reinforcement.
I got to be honest with you. Okay, let's reflect upon that. So right now, as a Greek player, right, I'm saying to myself, holy shit, the game is over. I mean,
Yes.
to be honest with you, the game is over. Holy shit.
Yeah.
90% of your players will quit. You cannot quit. You cannot quit because you still
he
have
had a
guys
chance.
going on. Yeah.
He had a chance in the last turn.
Right. So even though it looks bad, these guys are still CXing. Are they? If they fire at you, they are not getting off, right? Because this is Axis turn 3. Let's get to the point where you guys actually come on, if they ever do. maybe the rolls are so bad against you, Jose, that you probably roll like a 7 when turn 4 comes around on a D4, D6. So you guys coming on. So those guys are just moving. Oh yeah, this is Axis turn still. Holy smokes! Yeah, they had a couple holidays going on here. And that guy, wow, they are really hightailing it. And then they get to advance. Wow. Ally, turn 4. Okay.
There they come.
We put them on the bottom. Now, this is important. This is extremely important at this point. What's your plan here? What's your plan at this point? Because the Italians have gotten a huge advantage on you. Do you think you can stop the guys on top? Are those even in your play? So those are off, right? So
that's very impossible to get from me
right now. And look what happened on the right hand side. Look way over the right hand side. Look what happened. Right. Tell us what happened here.
In the right side?
Yeah, the right hand side on G4. Look at G4 and E5.
He has 2, 3, 4, 5 victory points stacked there.
Right, and this guy, the guy with the light machine gun, was ahead of our Greek units, right? And hell, this guy in F2 is actually good order. He must have rallied, so he probably won't have an impact. He could potentially, this guy could still have an impact on the game in F2. Why is that? Because it's your turn to move, and you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, advance. You could potentially, he probably won't, because the Italian units in the middle of the board are going to be past that woods row pretty quickly. So regardless, I mean, you have to try and rally him. You actually rallied him, not too bad. But the 137 with the LMG might be enough for the Italians to lose the scenario. So again, your broken units did their job. The 7-0 stayed there. Now the medium is up top. You know, he did get away, but that's what happens. But we did still keep another half squad behind. Is this guy getting off in Q9? Is he even getting off in Q9? That's the thing you have to ask you right now. As the Greek player, you have to see what points that he has on the board that's going to get off. Okay, what if you were the Italian player as the Greek? Who is getting off this game in 2 movement phases? Is the guy in Q9 getting off in 2 movement phases?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5, 4,
No.
5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4. No.
He's not getting off, right?
No.
Guess what? Doesn't exist. We're deleting him.
Yeah.
Okay. 7-0. Can he get off? Yeah. Yeah, he's a leader. He can get off pretty easily, right?
Yes.
So
1,
yeah.
2, 3,
So
4,
matter of
5,
fact, and
6,
more
7,
than
8.
likely,
Yes.
more than likely, just drop the. If you cannot get off normally, drop the medium machine gun. Well, actually, he helps him carry him, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. He helps him carry him, so that's good. If that was an HMG, drop it. Mortar, drop it. Get off the board. So that's 2, 3, 4 points. So he's got 4 points right now. Right now in the game, you have to think to yourself, he's got 4. Could that change? Absolutely. Especially if you get a unit like in CC1 and you can cover CC7, right? Absolutely, this guy is in peril if you can possibly get over there. But let's count these other units. The leaders, we know that these guys can make it in 2 turns. This guy obviously can make it in 2 turns. So all the leaders can make it. So let's count those points up there. So the first guy is the biggest guy. So he's got 3 points. The guy in W4 is 2, 4, 5. So it's 8 points. And then V4 is 9, 10, 11 points, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy up in 7-0 is 12, 13, 14, 15 points. And then let's look at these guys over here on the right-hand side, the 3, 4, 7. So that's a lot more points. So can S2 make it off the board in 2 movement phases? That's what we need to look at. We need to look at S2. 1, 2. Can S2 make it off? Remember, he'll CX. He has 1 CX that he can do.
Yes.
5,
Yes,
6,
he can.
No.
2, 3, 4.
No.
Yes, he can do it.
He can barely get off with the advanced phase, right?
Yes.
Okay, so those guys.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all these guys are potential victory points.
Yeah.
Nobody's prep firing, right? So as this force comes on, what do you really need to focus on these? Because you need to pretty much shoot at all of them, right? Or most of them, because all these guys left on the board. This is the game right here. The rest of the map doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at all. So now you're starting a new game. This is a 2-turn game. You have to stop X amount of points from getting off. You reset the game, reset your mind as a player. Focus on what you have to get done here. What can't you do in this situation? What's the one thing you cannot afford to do in this situation?
I don't get what you
get all your
say.
units. Get all your units broken, right? We need these guys' units in good order.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right, good order. This unit. So what can we do to 100%? There's one thing we can do to 100% assure that these guys are in good order at the end of this turn. What can that be? 100% effective. I mean, you can enter any hex down here. 100% effective that you are in good order at the end of this turn. What can we do? Do we want to move on? If we move on, we're going to give them a shot, correct?
Yeah.
Do we need to move very far? Do we need to get like right here? Do we need to get to Z4 per se?
I think so.
Do we need to get right in the middle of the Italian units?
You mean you can the Italian can do an assault movement in this turn, so the next turn would exit the.
Right. When you're thinking about your Greeks right now, what are you thinking about? What your Greeks should be doing right now? What's your plan with these guys?
Okay. So one thing, one previous question in the scenario card, it said I must exit the reinforcements by north or south of the board, but as I understood it, I couldn't split the reinforcements.
You're correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you're correct. So the top guy could be off. Now, what do you want these guys to do? Where do you want these guys to be at the end of this turn? Your reinforcements. Where do you want them to be?
Well, my idea was to put them here in the south board, in the south part of the board, in the forest to gain some protection, and start firing all I could fire onto him.
Okay. All right. So let's see where you go. I'm not sure. Disparo E5. What does that mean?
No, we had problems with the audio.
Okay. So you move with these guys here. Now you move them. Is this the move? This is the movement phase.
This is the movement phase. Yes, I enter the the reinforcements into C1, in X1. Sorry.
Okay. And so I think he's gonna try and fire on you. He fires this guy. This guy's not really a threat in BB2, right? Because that's going to be. Did you assault move there, or did you just straight up move there? Did you?
He assault.
He assault move. Okay,
My-
that's fine. Yeah.
Yes, I assault moves into here.
So that's going to be. Oh, that's right. And then you guys forgot the +1 for the CX, right? So that's going to. You guys
Yeah.
counted that as a 2+1, right? So in this case, 2+2 is really never going to affect you. So this guy, the 7-0, is really not the threat. The guys
Yeah.
up in W4 and V4 can potentially be a problem because that's going to be 4 hexes away, right? And that'll be a
Yeah.
6 firepower. So hopefully he won't get a shot. There's Pablo's 4.
Yeah.
So those guys actually got a pin on that one. Not too bad. And then let's get turn 4. And I think you shoot back. Oh, those guys. I guess you shot back and nothing happened. Now,
Yeah.
now in this case here, the reason why I asked you to make sure that I asked you what the plan was for these guys is if let's say he got another lucky shot on that one, which he did. He actually got a pretty low roll on that, right? So
Yep.
if you're only giving him one target, you're only giving your opponent one option in this case, and you want to always
Yes.
try to give your opponent multiple options so he makes the wrong choice, right? If you only give him one choice, there's only one choice to make. Whether it's there's no right or wrong about it. There's only one target for him to fire at, and you move them all independently.
Yeah.
Now, again, in terms of because you have a lot of firepower right here, and this guy is going to be eating it. Because guess what? He has to be doing all of these units. The guys on the right hand side below the orchards, because I don't think you can see my red dots. Those guys have to move in open ground, or they're not getting off, right? So what does that mean for us as the Greeks? That means we're going to get some -2 shots. Probably, if we have our squads, probably we're getting 2 shots from each of our squads because we have the first fire and we have subsequent fire, right? Because so now this guy's got to run the gauntlet through our units, right? We have a lot of firepower, lots of units, lots of shooting. So the guys in the back, in my opinion, I think the guys in the back are pretty much, for all intents and purposes, automatically broken because they have to move and then they have to move again. So we have 2 turns. Actually, we have defensive fire phase, right? We have prep fire phase, and he's not going to prep on us. The only thing he's going to do is defensive fire on us. And then we have the defensive fire phase again. We're firing at those guys in the back 3 times if we fire on nobody else. We get 3 different opportunities to fire on those units. So we have 2 in our defensive fire phase, 1 in the prep fire phase, and 2 more. So those guys get shot 5 times. Do you think it will take 5 shots to break those units for each of our other units in X10? If each one of those guys gets 5 shots on those 4 units, are they going to break? Probably, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're like, oh, that's like an overkill situation where that's almost a guarantee that some of those guys, let's say 2 of those guys make it. So we have some firepower somewhere else. So the idea I'm getting to is maybe not stack all the guys there, and since if this was your destination, if your only destination is 1 hex on the board, how can we avoid getting shot? How can we avoid getting shot at all when we enter the board? Can we enter it at another time?
Yes.
I
With the
think-
assault movement. No, sorry. In the advanced movement.
In the advanced phase, right? So if you stack them here, I'm not going to. If you stack them here, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't want to take any shots because that's a normal range of this guy. That's a 6 firepower. That's a juicy shot. I like this one more because this guy is the same range of this and this, but this guy's now out of range. So now you've just reduced his firepower, and this guy may not even out because I have LOS. But just like Pablo said, even if you come on, is he going to prep fire against you?
No, he can't because I'm off the board.
Right. So even if let's say you do something like this. Is this unit going to prep? Is the unit in BB2 going to prep fire on any one of those units?
No.
No, because he's
No,
got to move.
but
right?
But one question: my reinforcement entered in the previous turn in turn 4.
Yeah. But you got shot at. You got shot at by this guy. So this is the beginning of the Italian turn. So the Italian. So these guys are. Let's say we move them here, right? Because you don't. And in the advanced phase, as Pablo pointed out, these guys are not going to get shot at in defensive fire phase in the allied player turn, right? So you just
okay.
You come on at the end 100% safe, right?
Yeah.
This guy has let's see, now he has 2 turns to move off the board. If this guy fires, can he get off the board? The 8-0 in the next phase.
Yeah.
Yes, he can. He could. He can't get off the board if he runs through the wheat field, but if he fires in prep fire phase in the Italian player turn 5, he can fire on this unit. And guess what that range is, right? That's a range of 5. He's going to be half firepower. That's a 2+1 shot. Do you really want to take that 2+1 shot?
No.
I don't think I would want to take that shot.
No. Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to fire. He's not going to fire, and these other guys can't fire. He's the only one that could really fire on anybody because he has 2 turns that he just fires, then assault, then advanced phases, and so on and so forth. But that's the decision that you have to make right there. So he's actually your only threat. But guess what? He's CX. He's +1. Obviously, you guys forgot that. No big deal. No. But still, that's a 2 even shot. Not a great shot. Most of your guys going to survive that. And then this also gives you a good location. One, your units are split up. So if he gets a lucky shot on, let's say your LMG breaks him, we still have 2 guys firing. And so he preps. Yeah. These guys have to move. Let's say this 8-0 goes this way to avoid it, which is likely, right? And this other 8-0 does the same sort of thing. Let's say 2, 4, 6. So is that 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Yeah. So this guy, and this guy can just avoid you going top. And I don't remember if he did that or not. So, but these guys at the bottom are going to get shot. So what that does give you is you could possibly destroy this unit with a lot of firepower that's spread out because you can essentially maximize your fire. Your leaders are really not going to do anything, right? It's not a -1 leader. It's not a -2 leader. Your leader's just going to stop people from cowering. Most likely, it could be on the LMG, but it doesn't. Only in terms of getting a rate of fire for that shot. But this guy is probably going to be broken in this situation. Same sort of thing over here. Whether you put him here or here, this guy's probably going to be broken because he's going to be moving in the wheat field. Or he gets shot. I don't know if he does or not. But we have to make sure that we kind of cover this back road because we know that the leader up the U9 can get off, and the other leaders can get off. So that's the big key. And let's see. So he's hightailing. The Italian guys up there are hightailing it, and I'm going to move these guys off here because I don't want to distract you too much. So we first fire a unit there, and these guys. Yay! There's a break. See, here's where the first fire shots are starting to roll up. Those guys are broken there. I think that guy gets off, which is fine. We can't save everybody. And so let's get to the Italian turn. So the Italian starts moving. Oh, I didn't even see that guy. So he broke that guy there. And that guy hightails it up there. Smart to move up and away. And this guy comes. I didn't know where that guy gets blasted. And this guy comes down. He gets blasted. That guy gets off. So I don't know. I think wow, snake eyes. Oh, that's crazy. So I think he fired. Okay, it's a route phase. So he routes up there. And he routes up there. So those guys are out of it. The broken guys are out of it. And then we have some Italian advances. So wow. Actually, this is, considering your entire force that came on behind him, Jose got obliterated. This is actually a super, super close game. So how many points, right now, how many points are we looking at? Because this is the end of the turn. You have one more turn. How many points can the Italians get off? at this point. Right, all the guys on the bottom part of the map. The three. Can you see the? Can you see my highlight red circle?
No.
No.
Damn, I don't know I don't know what the problem is with that. That's so crazy. That's so. Did you guys see it at the beginning when we first started?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning, we saw it, but
Okay, I'm not sure what the deal is.
No anymore.
That's interesting. That's so interesting. So, are the guys on the bottom part of the map getting off the map?
No.
No. And everyone else is broken down there, right? So the only people that are getting off are the guys up top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
No, but this now is the movement of the Italians.
Right.
They have 2 turns in this moment.
The last half turn is for the.
No, this is the allies right here. This is the ally turn. So they have the Axis has one more turn to get off the board.
Yeah.
Right. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You need 10 points off the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So look at the map and tell me what you see. Look at the game map and tell me what you see.
I see that the only way to go out is going up and taking the road that comes from Y9 to CC7.
All right. How many points can we get off as the Italian player? Excuse me.
I think 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. At least 7. And let me see.
And then the 2 leaders?
Should be more. I don't know.
So we've got 9 points.
There is something that is missing, eh?
Is there something missing?
I think so. Because it should be more. Should be some multi-man counter. No.
No, there are 9 points that can exit the board. 9 plus the 3 points you have there is the 12.
Right, because the guys already left. The guys already left, right?
Okay. That's right. Yeah.
Right, okay, because you already got the 3 points off before. That's what I was looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
So the guys on the bottom can't leave, can't exit.
No.
So we have to. Well, first of all, we're going to be taking a shot from the 137, which actually is a good spot that you actually move those units there. So now you're covering your other units. So the Greek player only essentially has to cover. Actually, you can move. Yeah, you have to. The Greek player has to do what in this case? What's the?
For me, he has to go to CC3.
Yeah. That's his only option is to bust ass over that direction, because
now I know it because he told me in the end of the game.
Yeah.
I didn't count on that and stayed trying to protect these two squads or half squad getting out, but I didn't count that they couldn't get out of the game.
Right.
Of the board, sorry.
It's still a tough shot because even if like CC, you could get to CC5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
You could get to CC5, but the problem is you'd have to move as a stack, and he's going to have one squad firing at 1-2, and the 347 is going to fire a 2-2. And again, obviously this is hindsight, but remember when I had the units spread out on AA1 and BB0 and Z0?
Mm-hmm.
If they had come in that direction, you don't give the Italian the option of closing within range, because again, you have range on him. Use your range to your advantage. That if you were an AA1, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could shoot to you could shoot to that location. Let me use a little target. Oh, I could use these. You could shoot to that location from your AA1 hex. Let me see. Green. So if you were here, you could shoot there at full firepower, but he can't shoot back at your full firepower. And what else does that give you? Remember that 7-0 was in BB2. um, in this location here. That's where he was before. But he's not really much of a threat. Again, he's only 2 firepower. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
If he fires, then you're just going to obliterate him. So, given this position, that gives you, just like the Italian player has the problem with W9, right? That guy can't get off because he was delayed a little bit. And so he can't get off simply because that one delay. The same sort of thing here is you want to avoid that delay and maximize your movement by being here. Use your range to your advantage. You don't have to be 2 hexes away from this guy because that means he's in range of you. And because if you want to move over here, now you're in a quandary of having to take a couple shots in Y1 and that you probably don't really want to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and so the Italian player can still run on the top of the board. We're still going to take some hindrance shots, but CC5 is where we kind of want to be. 2, 3, 4, 5, and obviously he could fire back at us, so we don't want to really give the Italian player a lot of defensive fire. He does have the medium machine gun, so that's quite a feat to get that thing the whole way back around this board. So that's kind of cool. So CC5 is a sweet spot, right? I mean, we could get a couple shots off the AA10, somebody in hindrance, and that would be our best location, is to get these guys over here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if you did. Let's see if you did that. But as you see, you know, with those units there, don't tell me rallies. Oh my goodness, those units there. Oh, and did you prep fire? Oh, I think you prep fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, prep fire. Yeah. Oh yeah, you prep fire the one stack that actually need to move. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. You said you thought you had to keep those guys from getting off.
Yeah.
So you lost one guy. Oh, here I guess the Italian movement phase is coming. So, yeah, okay. Because I miscounted the 702, and then these guys just kind of roll off. Yeah, those are going to be hindrances. So, again, just in terms of remember, always when you're working, always pause when you're working through the game and revisit the victory conditions almost at every. When you think you're in a quandary, you know, if you're in a tight spot, you want to reflect on the victory conditions. Okay, he needs to get 10 points off the board. He already has 3. Yeah. Who else do I need to worry about to get off the board? And here you mistakenly thought these guys could possibly get off the board. So, which is fine because it happens. You know, mistakes happen. But just always reflect back on the victory conditions is what I'm looking for. Is I mean, look at your situation here, Jose. You were demolished in the first of the game. I said, oh my God, this game's already over. But no, it wasn't over whatsoever. And to be honest with you, your units coming on turn 4 was actually probably one of the better things to happen to you earlier. You could, let's say they came on earlier, you might have gotten into firefights that you probably didn't want to get into, and you probably could have broken them earlier. And so having them coming on really late only gives you one option. And again, like I said before, if you only give your opponent one option, he only has one thing to do. The only thing you could do with those units is come right where you did and try to block as much movement as possible. So that kind of actually helped you out, as oddly as that may seem, because you had no other options to do, you know. And so that is so weird. I hadn't thought about that, but let's reflect on the direction of the game. So you had the 7-0 up top, right? Darn it, I'm sorry, that's mine. So tell me about, so you came down here. Tell me about an entry from the top, Jose. Tell me about that. Remember the Italian players had a whole bunch of guys in V4 and W4, right? Talk to me about the possibility of coming on top. As odd as that seems, the possibility of the guys coming on top. Let's say CC10. Let's say you entered them up here, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you enter these, and I thought you had the good spot too. You want to intercept them, but remember he has to get off the board, and let's say you enter them up there, and I don't recall if he was in the woods or not. I think he was like back here. So let's say let me me see if I can rewind it. So there is the Italian. Let me. Okay, I don't know exactly where he was, but let's say. Let me load another one. My bad. Again, sorry for the problem on that one. But I want to see if something else might actually show. It's it's sort of like the routing. I don't know if exactly some things that may not be obvious might actually be a little different. So I thought it was perfectly fine for you moving on the bottom, but because remember at the end game we had the wheat field or the grain in the AA9 BB8 as a problem, right? Because all he has to do is run behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get us to that point, and I'm going to ask you some questions there. Well, I'm almost there right now. These guys are moving. And, oh, yep, right here. Oh, beautiful. Okay, reseq with me one more time. And then we'll be done. Again, sorry this has gone maybe longer than you perhaps wanted it to be. But the routing point always gets me excited. So let me know when you're synced.
Okay, now.
Okay. So there we go. Sending game to
No.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, right here. The 8 zeros are on the bottom, right? And remember, what do we have that the Italians don't have? We have range on our units, right?
Yeah.
We have good range on our units. And right here, I thought this is a good spot because that's where the mass of his units are. But what advantage in terms of terrain do we have as the Greeks? Right? We know the Italians have to exit the board. So we need to deny them cover for exiting the board, right? We want to fire on them in the worst spot. And the 7-0 is way back there. So is there another spot, just reflecting again, this is I hadn't actually seen this until the end of the game. Is there another spot that you could potentially come in which would be extremely advantageous to you? I mean, really extremely advantageous on all counts.
Maybe C10?
CC10. Yeah, or even Y10, right? Because nobody could fire on you, so you could use Y10 to get a little further. So let's just put our stack up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have thought of this either. It's like, well, all of his units on the bottom, they got to go on the bottom. I mean, that's obvious, right? And so
because I see there are two squads, one leader here, two other squads here. So I watched that there were more victory points down there than up in the north.
Right. And then because he's got to move. So, and I thought the same thing. So if we move him on, we go 1, 2, 3. No one's gonna fire on him. This guy on the bottom in BB2, we're immune to his fire, right? Because it's the wheat fields in the way. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's say we just advance here. 6. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and advance. Actually, we won't want to advance there. We want to go there, and then possibly throw these guys here, right? And then this guy again, not to stack up, probably because we want to see, everybody wants to see that last row. Everyone's got to have line of sight to that last row. Let's say we do something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we go on to the. I'm gonna copy these guys. I don't think those guys will move. So let's go to. Remember, your guys are on the bottom. We're gonna kind of ignore that. And let's see how it develops here. So as the Italian player, when you see something like that, what do you see as the Italian player when you see the Greeks do this? What comes to mind immediately?
It should go out of the board by CC1, CC2.
Yeah, you want to get it far away as possible, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And CC2 is actually 5 hexes away. And your LMG can actually hit CC1. So you are, as the Italian player, are looking at least at 2 -2, 4 -2 shots at each of those occasions. And what happens when the, and I actually hadn't seen this. What happens when, again, all these final fires are irrelevant. Actually, okay, let's get to the point where he's going to move. Let me clone these guys here. And that way they're up here. That way the log is not completely jacked up. And I'll just put these guys there. And this is the way we have it set up right now in terms of our hypothetical situation. So they did the fire and nothing really happened down there anyway. So, but in terms of movement on the Italian player, so he comes up like this. Actually, he might actually do that. So if he comes in like that, we get shots off on him, right? Most likely, he'll come up to X10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's still within line of sight. Since he's CXing, can he fire the medium machine gun after he moves it?
No.
Right. So how much firepower does this unit have if we do not even fire on him? Even if he moves right there. Let's say he stops in the woods. Even if he stops in the woods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So he can still exit next turn. So if he stops in the woods, you know, he can't. He's not going to prep fire on us. You know that because he has to exit. So he still has to move. Even if he stops in the woods, if he moves to Y10, these guys can see Y10 clearly, right?
Yeah.
And even if he gets to CC10, this guy can see him at a 4+1 or 4 even, actually.
Or even if you put the stack with the leader in CC6 and lower the other stack to CC7, you still have range 5, the range 5 up to Y10.
Right.
And now you have this with the leader stack, you have the full firepower because you have 5 X8 into CC1.
Yeah, exactly. So even if, because we know that the 7-0 up top has to move together because they can't get off otherwise because he just CX. Even if he stopped in that woods, he CX to that woods, he has to get off together. So yeah, that would be a sweet spot. So now down here, and I had forgotten about this. Your best friend in this sort of situation here is what? When you fire a unit, what is very beneficial when you're firing a unit? Say this guy, say he moves right here.
Yeah.
And you fire, let's say, the first 4, 5, 7 on top of the leader. Let's say he fires 4 -2. So we're gonna roll 4 -2. We cower, so he's done. But what happens then? What's left behind?
Residual fire.
Residual firepower. The residual firepower in this case, because we cowered, is going to go down to 1. And let's just say he gets off, right? Is the leader going to go in that same location? No, probably not.
No, of course no.
So let's say we didn't cower. Let's say this unit didn't roll a 12, and that was 2 residual.
In fact, I know if the leader is there but he's not in the fire group, cowering occurs the same?
Yes, he has to direct the fire.
Okay.
He has to direct the fire, right? So let's say he didn't cower. Just for example, so he gets off. This unit, let's say this unit says, okay, I don't want to go here. We're going to go around 1, 2. Now the unit can subsequent first fire because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still within normal range, just like you pointed out.
Yeah.
Then let's say that same unit, this guy here, then subsequent first fires. So he'll be final fired, right? At the end of it. That'll be 2 -2. We roll. Nothing happens. What's left behind? More residual.
Residual again.
Right. And remember, this is the last turn of the second to last turn of the game. So decrease.
Yeah, a 1. Okay.
Right. And so we're blocking that off there. And then his other guys are moving. And so this is where he's making his adjustments. And it really doesn't matter, even if you're in here in your location CC6 or X2. I think the Italian movements are going to be very similar because you are now firing at every single open hex possibility in the entire game.
Yeah.
Right. Whether even if you were down here and say you moved him over here, this is the best position. So he's probably going to have to move to a position where he has an advantage. And let's say these guys down here that you blew up, the 8-0 got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say he made it here, and he had the 3, 4, 7 with him. And we know the other 3, 4, 7s. These guys can't get off because, well, actually, you broke them. Let's say these guys. Let's say these guys are like right here. Let's say none of these guys broke, or no, I don't want to label them. You moved up into a position something like this, and let's say one guy. Let's say this one guy back here, the Italian squad D, was just out of range, and you have this position kind of going on there. Same sort of thing applies. The 7-0 leader is off, so that's 3 points.
Yeah.
As he's moving units, and he's going to move them one at a time, you're going to fire your units one at a time. The 4, 5, 7 is going to fire the first shot. He'll leave 2 residual. He'll fire the second shot, leave 1 residual. And then the LMG, let's say the LMG and the 4, 5, 7 fire come directly. Then that's going to leave another residual. And then they'll subcursor fire. Let's say the Italian moves there, because what does the Italian not want to do?
Sorry, he doesn't want to cross the residual fire.
Right, because these are all free attacks, right? So
yeah,
I mean, he kind of has to avoid them. He's going to take the attack from the 4, 5, 7 anyway, because if you move into the residual, let's say this guy's shot and get off, that side gets shot, gets off. This guy comes up. Does he want to get shot? Especially 6 morale. Let's say you take the residual and there's no effect. You get the subsequent fire because that was your first fire shot, and now you get a 2-2 again. So you get a 1-2 and a 2-2, and you're not going to survive that. There you go. Boom. This guy's probably going to break. So he's not going to make it. And this guy has the same problem. Am I going to take 2 shots or just 1 shot? So let's say these three guys get off there. But essentially, what you're doing is you're laying down your wall of residual firepower.
Yeah.
So and you want to probably make it furthest away, so he has to come closer, just in case he moves a guy into the wheat field like this, and he knows you're not gonna get off, so he could stop your fire from subsequent firing. You wanna do something like that, and then these guys appear right when they move across. Same sort of thing. When he moves, then they have to move as a stack. So when he moves there, guess what? And when you're moving these guys, so if you were to move these guys, so let's say this whole stack is done. These guys can't fire at anybody else. You have 1 unit firing on these 2 guys. Okay. And let's say you need probably the tops. Well, they're about the same points. 2, 3, 4. This guy's got 5 points here. Let's say you need 4 points to get off. And you have to move them as stacks. What's the most effective way of moving these stacks to get them off the board? To make sure the safest way that they can get off the board. Remember, this guy's final fired. This guy has not fired at all. Who do you want to move first and why?
You mean these 2?
Yes, those 2. Yeah, those 2 right there. Who do you want to move first and why against that 4, 5, 7? Because the other guys in CC6 are done. They're final fired. They shot everybody on the bottom, and you got a couple points off. Now we need one of these stacks to get off. How do we make sure that at least one gets off?
I should move first this one.
Why is that?
Because I could move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Go ahead, move him. Go ahead and move him like you would.
If I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I couldn't move into this one because it should be 6.5 and exceed my momentum. Allowment.
Oh, but yeah, they're already 6. So, so now essentially right now you have 6 movement factors to move these guys off. So 1, 2, 5. Actually, you actually have to go 3, and that would be 6 right there, and then you'd have to advance off. So, and this guy here, same thing. 1, 2, 3, and that would be 6 right there. So this guy would have to come down this way and go this way, and this guy could do the same route.
Yeah, I see now.
But which one? This one is the one that you want to move first. The 8-0 is the one you want to move first. But why is that guy the one you want to move first?
Because if I move this doing that, 1, 2, 3.5. This would be 5. No, how was it? No, it should be
Yeah, you got to go to
1,
AA2.
2, 3,
AA8. Yeah, exactly. So why do we want to
5.
move him first?
Because wherever the place I shoot at him, let's say here,
Uh-huh.
the residual fire should be here, and this one should move up there without being affected by the residual fire.
And what about the unit? Can the Greek unit in CC7 fire on the second? Let's say this guy goes here, here, and here, and let's say he breaks, and he gets shot at, right? So he gets shot at, 2 residual, and he breaks.
Yeah.
Tell me about the top unit. Can this unit, since he was first fired, can he fire at this unit when he moves there?
No, because it's not closer than the other unit.
Right.
To him.
Right. And so this guy's now a free ride because the other
Yeah.
guys are final on this guy's first. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4.5, 6, and then he's off the board for free.
Off board.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you move the top guy first, that's the key takeaway. If you move this guy first, let's say he goes here, and this guy fires, you know, and he breaks him there, then this guy has to move second, and we know the route he has to take. He then gets a second shot. The second shot is what we're taking away from him. Yeah.
Okay.
The second shot is what we have to take away from him because we're looking at a 2-2 freebie shot. We don't want to get him any freebie shots. That's a 7 for a morale check, and that's not looking good at all. A pin is the same thing as a break. So
yes,
remember, if you're in the situation, excuse me, as the Italians, you want to make sure you bait that shot off first from the unit, and that's what you have to look at. Say, how do I get the guy off? And you look at that portion there, and you'll be fine. Because if we only need one stack, then this guy's a sacrificial lamb, right? We don't. Yeah. He has to shoot at him because he can get here. And if he doesn't shoot at him, he loses. So he's 100% going to shoot at this unit. What's the only result that really hurts the Italians in this case? The only result is if he kills all them all, right? If he rolls like a 3 on a 4-2, that'll be a 1 KIA. Actually, that doesn't really matter, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that matter? If these units go 1, 2, 3, and he gets a 1 KIA on them. So let's do a 1 KIA. Who gets killed? One guy in starter kit. One guy gets killed, so that would be the leader. Let's say the leader gets killed. What happens to these units automatically when the 1 KIA?
They must pass a moral check for the loss of the leader.
Oh, not yet, not quite yet. We're still resolving the 1 KIA. They'll break, right?
KIA. They break.
Yeah,
okay,
they automatically
broken.
break, right? And then there's a leader loss morale check. Let's say they break again. Let's say they fail their leader loss morale check again, and so they break again. So now they're both half squads.
Yeah.
Is that exactly the same result that we want?
Yes.
Yes, because it doesn't matter if they're broken. He can't fire on the next unit.
Yeah.
And he could only get a 1 KIA that he rolled with his best roll. And so these guys are still walking off the board. Even if all these units get the worst result that we could possibly hope for, the top units still get to move off the board only because we chose to move those guys first. Now, if we move these guys up here first and took the 2 residual and somebody got pinned or broken, then these guys are going to be facing the guys that are broken in AA8 are going to be facing another shot. So that is really, really, really key in squad leader, is that you really want to get the guys restricted in their shots and their fire so they can't shoot at the guys behind them. And as long as you do that, you'll see that your game is completely open up. And in this one here, given the Italian situation, that's exactly what the Italians would be looking at, is to taking advantage of the defensive fire rules. And you have to fire on both of them, but you can only fire on one of them because you're only giving him that one choice. And we saw in AA8, even with the Greeks' best roll of a 3, because a 2 is just going to be actually a 2. A 2 actually, a 2 wouldn't even matter either, because if he rolled a 2 and he cowers, he goes down to the 2 column, right? But a 2
Yeah.
minus 2 is a 2 KIA. We have 3 units in the hex, so even if he cowers, we're still going to have a unit left over. We're still going to have a unit left over, regardless of whether it's a leader that dies first or whatever. So there's still going to be a body that he can't subsequently fire on. So in that case, the Italian player wins instantly. Or if you do it the other way around, if you move the top guy to 7-0 first, now you're looking yourself to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're just giving the Greek the game at that point. But so those are kind of the takeaways there. Your resilience in the beginning. I like the resilience in the beginning, and the route examples that we had there. There were really good route examples. Keep those in mind. Again, don't rush through the route phase.
Yeah.
Take it slowly, and then you'll see the game kind of open. It's like, oh, I can route there because I can continue to route through the woods. That was the interesting one that I saw, and it's like, oh, I didn't even see that the first time. And then counting the points. Remember, focusing on the victory conditions, what he needs to get off. And like you did here, you came on the bottom because that's where most of his units were. I would have done the same thing. Thing. And then only reflecting in your game, Jose, that actually coming in the top is good, because you get to come on. He couldn't even take a shot at you, right? I mean, even though you moved into X0. He took a shot at you. I don't think anything happened. But going to the top is exactly where you wanted to be anyway, because you're going to cover that board, and you get to cover the wheat field or the grain where he kind of wants to move through anyway. So that's a good situation. And again, depending on how effective your shots are on the bottom, maybe he doesn't get so many guys off. Maybe he's scared of the residual, but sometimes at that point he has no choice.
So, no, his only opportunity to win is run.
Yeah, exactly. Just a run through the open ground. So you want to, and the same sort of thing would have happened on the bottom too, when you fired on his units and you left the residual in W3 and so on and so forth. Those are still hexes he has to run through. So the same effect applies. It's just a different part of the board, and your units in a different spot, so you can guard the top as well. I actually didn't even see that. And so now we both know that if you play this scenario again, the Greeks' key spot is CC7. When those guys come on, they pretty much just sit right there. They don't even come on wherever else. It doesn't really matter. I don't care how many. He got pretty much all of his Italians through, right?
Yeah.
So these three guys, and the LMG are enough to stop most of the Italian force.
Yes, that's correct.
So
it's clear now.
Yeah, and so I as soon as I saw the game, it's like, holy shit, Jose got annihilated at the beginning. This game is over already, and it was far from over. So many guys would give up right then and there, Jose, and I'm glad you guys didn't. And this just goes to show you that, yes, this guy, if you had that force in the back alive, I don't know, maybe you just sit these guys here anyway, right? Maybe just sit. Maybe this is just the spot. Maybe this scenario is broken, and then you just park those guys there 100% of the time, regardless of what happened, because you had the worst case scenario, and you still did rather well, right?
Yeah, because he has to exit 10 victory points, and finally he got only 12. So the difference is not so big.
Right, and it's just amazing the difference of that. And I gotta be honest with you. Look at this. I think the scenario is broken for the Greeks, because he just parks on CC7 and CC6, and he just waits for the Italians to come on, because he gets open ground shots everywhere. And so, and if the Italian wants to go through the grain in AA6, right, and that big one in the middle, guess what? He's going to be slowed down. That's exactly what you want to do, so he can't move off. So.
Yeah, I know it now. Even if I get my reinforcement in turn 2, I would open move them from. I mean, if I get my reinforcement on turn 2,
super early,
I would definitely move them in these hexes, and stop and as you say, stop here and wait for the Italians to come.
Yeah, because if you bring him on the bottom, he's just going to run away from you up top.
Yeah,
And then if you,
yeah, yeah.
as you're moving, because he has that medium, he could possibly, those are the giant wheat field away. But once you respond, if he beats you to the corner, beats you to that location there, then he just runs
Mhm.
off the board. So yeah, even if you get him on turn 2, and again, he had the best situation. He had all your units broken early, and he just ran
Yeah,
the whole way. He ran as fast as possible he could, and you still were ahead of it. So yeah, I just think that turn 2, you just park him back here. You just literally just
yeah.
park him back there.
And the problem for me, I was thought when playing was if I have had some luck and and have lost some
Yeah,
squads or half squad, but not the two leader, maybe it would have been different because I would have some opportunity to rally. But as I lost exactly my two leaders of the four I had in the first turn, it was difficult for me to
yeah,
to do anything.
yeah. It would. Yeah, well, you were behind the 8 ball at that point. It would be very difficult for you to even catch up to them because he still
Yeah,
has 3 or 4 leaders. He still has a whole bunch of guys left over. And once he
yeah,
hits the hindrances on that side, you just don't have any really good shots on him. I agree with you on that one, 100%.
yeah.
So very cool. I
Anyway,
really enjoyed your scenario here because I mean even though you got annihilated, the lesson that I learned from this is even though you got annihilated as the Greeks in the beginning, you still had a really good chance of winning. Even coming on the bottom as well, you still had a really good chance of winning because you
yeah.
could have broken some other guys and so on and so forth. But you
Hmm.
made it hard for him on that, and but yeah, now that we're reflecting upon it, yeah, those are really really key spots right there,
Yeah.
really key
Hmm.
spots, and so that's pretty cool there. So hopefully, hopefully what we covered here, the concepts that we covered here, sort of like the one-on-one that we were doing. I'm glad both you guys showed up. I'm really appreciative of that. I'm really apologize for the time that I'm here because Pablo had to leave early.
No
So
problem at all. And thank you for your time, for teaching us, for saying, making us watch our files, and not only in the technical part of the game. I mean, of the rules or something, because but it's also in the strategic part of the
yeah.
because I've played. I've been reading and collecting ASL since about 30 years, but I've played
Oh,
in these
wow.
30 years, maybe I've played 1 year,
Oh, that's
more or
okay.
less.
Yeah, I see. That's good.
I've played 3 or 5 months. I left the game. I started again when started kit came. I took 5 6 months. I took off again, and now in these 3 4 months, I started trying to doing it seriously. And in these 3 or 4 last months, I I I see I've learned much more than the previous 29 and a half years.
Very good, very good. So yeah, you're playing, and like I say, even though you guys like miss the CX stuff like that, all that stuff's gonna happen. You're always gonna miss a little
Yeah,
something. Don't worry about that. Again, you saw in your game, it didn't make a difference because all
yeah,
the guys would have broken. We did it on the other side. If it was a 2 morale check versus a KIA, they all would have broke anyway, or they all would have been
yeah,
ineffective. So essentially, the end result is the same. So that's the biggest takeaway. Another big takeaway is don't fret the small stuff, even if you miss a couple things, big here and there. Most of the time, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So,
yeah,
and everyone's going to miss something. It happens. It's just because you're playing a game and you're thinking of the game and you're thinking of the rules, and it's hard to go back and forth. And that's kind of why we're here is to kind of slow the game down and kind of
yeah.
revisit and then kind of
Hmm.
kind of bring things to light that we may have missed in the game so we could take that into the next game. Oh, I remember that I could have done this in this situation where at the first
Hmm.
time I missed it, but this time I'm not going to miss it. And that's the whole point of me
Yeah,
getting together with you guys here is going over games and getting the little things that you missed. All right, so that's the finished end of the game. We had a good ending discussion right there on what the Greeks can do on the edge of the board. And I agree. That's a very key spot. He's got open ground shots everywhere. And that's counting that his other units didn't do anything to the Italians early. None of his units that came on at the beginning of the game practically had any impact at all during the game. 3 units, 1 leader, 1 LMG, almost pulled it out right here at the end. Don't give up your games. Play them through. That way you'll learn something at the end. Even though Jose put them at the bottom, we reflected again and we found another spot that you could put them, which could be just as effective. You know, it depends on where the Italians ended up. But if you don't ever reach that point, you never get to that learning point as well, you know? So if you don't ever stress yourself or push yourself to the edge, you know, then you'll never find out what the solution might be. It's not going to take that long. I mean, if you don't have any units on the board, you just keep rolling reinforcements. They don't come on to turn 4. Guess what? It takes them 5 minutes to move 2 turns. It's move, advance, move, advance, move, advance. That's it. That takes 5 or 10, 15 minutes, not 3 hours. It takes no time to get to the point where you guys need to get to work to the end. So therefore, stick with your games. Even if they look terrible, he still has to exit units off the board, okay? Victory conditions. Focus on the VC. That's the only thing that matters in the game. The only thing. All right? Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned a little something, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot.